As you know, Adam is one of the most respected professionals in the industry. He's a professional with one of the most solid careers, especially in techno scene. Correct?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, that's very nice words, but yeah, I've been active since the mid '90s, so
Yes.
it's a long career. Yeah,
It's a long career, and he plays in the best clubs and festivals around the world. Okay, and okay, let's start with some questions and the interview. Okay, we know that how much you travel when the life is normal, and you chosen Ibiza as a place of residence. And please, it's a good place. All these guys are born living in Ibiza. They are super lucky guys. And how do you love our island? How is the life here? Why you choose Ibiza as a place of residence?
well, I was living in Stockholm in Sweden before, which is quite far away from the scene. I mean, we had a little scene there, but I was always traveling and so on and so on. And I was always dreaming of leaving Sweden for a while. I was thinking of London, Amsterdam, all these places. But my wife, Ida, who's also a DJ, she wanted more the countryside. And so the best place we came up with after being here a lot in the summers is probably the place where I had most gigs in one place. Otherwise, maybe I had 2 in London in a year, a couple in the US, and I was going around. But in Ibiza in the summer, I always had maybe 12 gigs or 15 gigs or something. So we thought, it was the best of both worlds. I could be close to the scene, we could be close to the scene, but also have the countryside life and a family life, because we have 3 children as well.
Sometimes it's more planes, more flights, but at the end, when you arrive here on the island, after traveling, it's a pleasure.
That was similar to Sweden, so it's similar for me to get to Stockholm from somewhere in Europe to Ibiza. So for me, it's like the same. So it doesn't make a big difference.
How good is when you arrive to the island?
Every time you land, everyone knows to fly into Ibiza is the best.
When you see a Spedra in the right
Always.
side or left side, it's like, whoa.
After being in a hectic city and then you come here and you arrive at your house, you're like, whoa.
Yeah, in the winter especially also, no? In the winter, because you are traveling around and then you arrive here in the quiet island, because the winter is amazing also in the island, no?
But also what makes Ibiza, which I've discovered now, is the people, That's what makes Ibiza mostly for me, like that everyone can be exactly who they are, and there's not so much prestige or anything. I mean, from the locals and outside the season, there's.
That's true. Also, we have here Dario Datis. We have here. He's also helping us, Dario, and he came from Italy yesterday. He said, "How the people? No, you feel the freedom. You mean the freedom of the
Yeah, and this for me is the most important with Ibiza now, actually.
Maybe for us that we live here, but guys, we are super lucky to live here, no? Okay, well, Adam, one question is that you are very, very smart, releasing your track, losing your mind, because before the pandemic, because all of us in some way we lost our minds in this situation, no? How you have managed to stay with a positive mind in these times?
Well, for me, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, I was on the road for 25 years. 46 weeks out of 52 every year, maybe. So I was close sometimes to burning out, and I was really tired.
Yeah, I understand you very well.
Especially the last 5-10 years, because I was pushing and things were going well, and it's hard to say no. And so when this happened, it was almost like I wished for it. So for me, it's been like an amazing year to reset, to connect with my family, and to take a deep breath.
Yes.
But I also know how privileged I am to be able to do this job, and now I'm looking forward to get back.
Because guys, he's speaking about 25 years traveling every weekend around the world, different countries, nights, airports, late nights, and then it's very intense career. Also working during the week. Some people think that the DJs only work during the weekend. During the week, it's very important.
If you want to be on top, it's like everyday work.
Every day, 7
days. Because there's so many people who want to.
That's something that we are speaking with the guys. No?
Yeah, exactly.
It's very intense carear.
You need to have the passion.
Of course.
If you don't have the passion and you love it, because there's all this bullshit around with traveling, airports. There's a lot of time to kill for the fun, for your passion. So it needs to be a strong one.
And then you receive some positive things from this situation after the pandemic, eh?
Yeah, for sure. And then I think, to stay healthy, I mean, training, moving,
Perfect.
engaging your mind and your body, you know.
Exactly. Perfect. Okay, thank you. As we know, you have been producer for many years. Techno is your sound, your main sound. Okay, but how do you define personally, musically? How you define?
Well,
or what music you listen when you are also not playing, or which kind of music?
I mean, one of the reasons I came here is because I've always had a passion for also the slower music. I mean, I had a big phase in my career where I was very into minimal in the mid 2000s, and I slowed everything down. I stopped drum code for a few years, almost stopped, not completely, but so I always had and I also spent a lot of the time here in Ibiza around this period because it was a good way for me to get out of the techno a little bit. And
influences like Café Del Mar, this kind of music from the...
more the after party, minimal sounds, the underground Ibiza kind of
electronic
stuff.
Music,
tech house when it was more a little bit deeper. Now it's gone a little bit too commercial for my taste, but just the more after hour kind of party sound, and also the big clubs, you know, it was never really about super banging stuff and the energy. It was more about the longer things, and for me it connected me back to when I started DJ, because I started DJ in 88 or 89 when electronic music was more fun, you know, like it wasn't so serious. So and I think Ibiza has that, you know,
personality.
It can be fun or trippy, or it's not just about the energy and the drops, and you know, like which is a lot in the big festivals and in Northern Europe where it's a lot the music is a lot harder normally. So
And which music you listen when you're not listening to the...
I listen to everything. A lot of electronica. I like dub a lot. Hip hop.
It's important to listen different music.
Yeah, for sure. I listen to some bands and everything.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, Drum Code is his label. Is one of the biggest labels from techno and electronic music. And for example, you released last week a song called Let Burn Down from Marco Faraone. It's a super housey track. It's a super housey track with fantastic vocals. What do you think is necessary for you to release a track in Drum Code? What do you think for guys who are producing music? What is important to send music for labels? Of course, the music needs to fit in the label, but what do you think?
I think more and more it's about the whole package, and you know, in the past there was not as much music around as today, and it's also maybe not easier to produce music today, but there's more of it and more people are doing it. So there's it's a harder, people are not fighting, but it's harder to get your music heard because the scene is bigger. And everyone wants to get on the right label. So I'd say, you know, it's a longer road to get to that point, unless you have music which is completely amazing. But if you kind of sound like a lot of other people, it's good. But then you also need to have something else. You need to have because these days people are looking for someone who, the social media, the marketing skill, the business side.
Exactly.
So there's so many different things you gotta be good at, or basically get to know someone very well.
And as
like myself or anyone else, that can also help. But I mean, I know myself, it's impossible for me to go through all the demos I get all the time, because then I wouldn't do anything else.
How many releases per year from?
One every 3 weeks on Drum Code, but then I have a label called True Soul as well, which is also similar, one every 3 weeks, one every month. And then we have a side label to Drum Code now, which I started again, which used to be vinyl only, but now we're doing it digitally as well, which is called Drum Code Limited. And it's for a little bit harder and more underground techno.
Okay, now guys, now you're friends from Adam, then you can send out their releases. Okay, it's like with the code HOLA DJ, you can send releases. I'm joking. Thank you. Okay, well, if I'm not wrong, your first production is 25 years ago, right, more or less?
It's more even. Like my first record came out
24 years,
in 1993.
25. 93, more.
93, so it's 28 years ago.
Yeah. Okay, and you have more than 200 releases from the label, or from yourself, from your productions?
Yeah, something like that.
Wow.
I haven't counted.
Not bad, 200 discos que ha producido para el sello y sus producciones.
I was very active in the 90s and early 2000s, and then it slowed down because my DJing went up, and then family came. But now, and this is something I forgot to say about the year off, because I've spent the year of getting back into production a lot more.
Yeah.
So I've done a lot of music this year.
Yeah, after the pandemic, there are thousands of new releases, but it's important, of course, to create the studio. And
I just love producing. So.
Important. As we mentioned it with the guys, they are very, very young, not like me. I don't know, not like me. And the industry has changed a lot in these years, no? It's becoming more professional and it's becoming more demanded. And what you have learned during these years in the industry, and what you would love to know 24 years ago, what you recommend to these guys just to start a career, no? Passion, as you mentioned.
I think that's everything, but it should be everything, but it's not anymore. Unfortunately, you also need to be good at other things, I guess.
Yes, as you mentioned, the social media are very important.
Yeah, depending on what you play and where you are and how you present yourself. I mean, it's not about looking best at social media. It's about, people don't even care about that. It's about cutting through the noise. Have a personality or have something to say more than. I say to them that it's very important and it's working, but in the best way, in the correct way. No, not like just sharing moments, like sharing passion. No.
Not trying to find the things with It's very important to be calm, patient, because this is a long way. Okay, like me, you share the passion with your wife. Okay, Sarah is my wife, and how cool is that? No, how is Sarah doesn't like the back-to-backs in the DJ booth. Okay, in the DJ booth, and es correcto, Sarah? I'm right.
It's my moment.
Yeah. And how cool is that with your wife to play? Su pareja es Ida. Y es DJ también, entonces hacen también bolos juntos y demás, es muy interesante también, ¿no? There are many DJs in the industry now that they are couples, like Tony Varga, for example, from a row, Tony Varga y ¿cómo se llama? Y Tini Gessler, perdona. And other.
More and more.
How is the situation with?
Well, I mean, if you share that passion, it's a good ground to start a relationship, I guess. Yeah. Because it's such a big passion.
You share the music with her?
You share the music. I mean, since we had the kids, obviously she had to slow down, or we decided that she would slow down a little bit, and I was working more. But yeah, I mean, it's been fantastic. Also, sometimes, obviously, when you're a couple and it's a lot of stress around the gig, it's both ways, but for us, it's been an amazing journey, and we had a lot of fun together, and to be able to share that with your partner is very special. Yeah,
it's special. That's true. Okay, checking the current situation of the industry. Well, it's when you mentioned it before, that what we could say to the new generation of artists. I say them too many times, to be patient, work a lot. Work is not a job just for okay, I'm gonna play just a bit. No, it's very intense. Sorry?
We have to work every day.
Yeah, as we mentioned, every day. What we recommend to them? Well, it's the same question a bit, but just to be. I mention all the time that it's very important to be patient, to follow up every day, to has a lot of energy, because sometimes we mentioned it also, we lose the vibe, we lose the energy. In every career there are moments that we don't know.
Of course, and you will have shit gigs and feel like you're worthless. And
sometimes you are traveling, they are paying you, they are dancing for you, and you are into the I want to be at home, or I want to, sometimes it's important also to don't lose your mind. Okay. In the DJ booth, which is your perfect setup? Tell me how you like to play, how you like to use.
Sure. I mean, I came from vinyl, so I always try to keep a little bit of the vinyl feeling when I played, even though I switched to CDJs eventually.
We showed the guys yesterday.
I'm always in vinyl mode, for example, on the CDJs. I usually have 4 decks. And then I used to be on Allen Heat. I might actually switch to Pioneer now because of the new V10 with the extra effects and stuff. And then I had 2 guitar pedals, a delay and reverb, connected to the auxiliary send, so I could send the music through and create my own effects.
Okay.
Which is kind of an old school way of doing it, but it was good enough for me. And I would usually have the main music here. I would have extra fills, some drums, snare rolls and things over here before I start using the RMX. So I would cue things in over here, and then maybe here I use for the third when I use 3 decks, because a lot of the time I loop and I keep I'm blending things.
Right.
Have loop running. So that's my usual setup. But like I said, now I'm on my way to change to the new Pioneer, because I think it's actually really good. I've not been a big fan of the Pioneer mixes in the past because of the sound, but the new V10 I feel it's up there, because it also has my guitar pedals built in, exactly the same thing. You can control the delay and the reverbs and stuff a lot more than over here. So
it has more equalization than the Pioneer.
Yeah, it's got equalization, it's got isolation knobs for the master, it's got EQ on the both, which is nice. So if they're both, like the monitors are really harsh, you can turn down the treble a little bit, and so I like it. But yeah, it's a pretty standard setup. I don't have a lot of stuff. I always lean more on my music than my effects and and manipulating too much. I like more to blend and to have perfect mixes rather than chopping up everything and just do my own music live.
Perfect. Okay, you have been in the first positions in the DJ Mag many times, and with many special awards in your career. There is one which is of them is more important for you, which you remember, like, wow, this point of my career is,
First of all, I've never started DJ to win awards, so to be a number. So, but
at the end,
for me, it's just like a way of getting appreciation for what you have done, and especially when there's a public that voted for you, and then of course it's nice. I think the DJ Mag underground DJ Mag list is a pretty nice one, together with Beatport, because I know it's a lot of people participating. I haven't been on top, but I've been 2 and 4 or something like that.
Well,
it's in the top.
It's great. Estar número 2, número 4 del mundo varias veces, pues lo tenemos aquí, es algo importante, ¿no?
Yeah. So it's nice. I'm super happy and proud and honored for those things. And then I've had a couple of Ibiza awards as well, and that's always fun as well. Actually, I won it for best minimal DJ once, which was funny because I never really played minimal. A little bit, but yeah.
Perfect. It's fantastic. Okay, and how do you prepare your sets, and what do you like to explain with your music? As you mentioned, you play more progressive maybe in your mixes. How you prepare your music, and what do you want to explain?
Well, these days, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I'm usually, and I think this is important as well, depending on what kind of DJ you are, but if you're playing big shows for big crowds, you want to be prepared, because if you're not, and you're not having a good day, it can go pretty bad, and I don't like things going bad.
Exactly.
So I rather be prepared and know what I'm gonna do, but I have options. So I maybe put like a blueprint for the set together. I know where I'm beginning, I know where I'm finishing on. And these days when you have record box, you can audition the mixes. So usually on the way to the gigs, I check my mixes, I make options. If I feel if the crowd wants to go harder, I can jump to this record box, and then I have a different ending or a different middle part. So I always have options. And the more you play, if you play regularly 4 or 5 times every week or 3 times, you're so into it all the time. So you have all these old sets as well with your history. So you can jump to your history, cut something in from there, and then go back to what you were thinking, depending on what you want to do. But
it's very important to be
preparations is the key. And also these days I mix a lot in key, so I check that all the key are matching.
Harmonics.
Not always, because in techno you don't always have to do it. Sometimes mixes can sound really nice and not be in key. But I like to play melodies as well, as you might, I like to bring in melodic elements in my sets. So it's quite important
It's very important
to learn harmonics and what keys are working well. I mean, these days with the CDJs, it's actually showing, especially the new ones, the CDJ 3000s, they're showing you what key you're in, and you can even do key mixes by pressing a button. So it's getting easier and easier.
Es muy importante lo que hablamos, tener bien preparados las sesiones, conocer bien la música, saber cuándo sube, cuándo baja, lo que hablábamos antes también un poco, ¿no? Estar preparados, tener la música preparada es muy muy importante, hacer los deberes que se llama, ¿no? O sea, tener la música perfecta. Okay. And tell us, would you prefer a huge, big festival, like you play many times, or sometimes small clubs with a nice sound system, very small club pack?
I mean, for me, the beauty with the job is that you get to do both.
Yeah.
So it's more, I think, about the specific party. Some big festivals are great, some are shit. Some small clubs are great, some are shit. So I don't have a preference. Like I like doing everything. I prepare accordingly. So if I do a big festival, I would play differently from a small club. I always try to match the mood of the people and the club I'm in, and the size of the venue, even the country. And I think this is important as well.
Yeah.
And this is something that I these days, when I see DJs that have become big very fast, and they play the same set everywhere, like the same style. And for me, it's strange because I feel that the history of a DJ who knows the crowd and who comes the 10th time to a club in Valencia.
Every country has different...
Exactly. So you know the crowd and you know what they like. But you go there, you do you, but you kind of tailor-made it for that crowd a little bit.
Exactly.
That's how I work.
If you play in Valencia, for example, in Barraca or these kind of places, you know that this crowd wants, or if you play in South Africa.
Exactly.
And you need to know, it's important also to, before your gig, to know a bit which is the venue.
Always look who's playing before you and maybe after you. So if I get booked with Nina Kravitz before me, I know it's going to be pretty crazy. And then I know I have to take it from there, But if I have...
Totally understand, yeah. Muy importante prepararse no solo la música, sino dónde vais, qué cosas tenéis preparadas, qué armas tenéis, no solo ir con un set preparado el mismo, ¿no? Sino también recursos, ¿no? They have different options.
For me, I mean, every DJ is different, but I always try to think of the party and not just what I do, because I feel also like I'm a DJ to entertain, not just show my style. But it's different type of DJs. Some DJs have a very particular style and that's all they do, and it's also fine. But I think it's an individual thing that you choose. But
important to be ready.
Yes.
Okay, as we start talking about Ibiza within this interview, we want to finish with a question about the clubs, and which are the clubs your favorite has been your favorite in Ibiza. You play it in most all the venues here in Ibiza. From
well, I usually say that I kind of grew up in Amnesia, because I started to come a lot in 2003, and that's when Cocoon was on the way up.
Yes.
And I was a good friend with Richie and Sven and everyone, so I got invited. So I started to hang around the Cocoon crew. So for me and then I came summer after summer. We stayed in villas, we always went, and then I also played. So for me, Amnesia is the one where I have most memories. Yeah, beautiful memories.
Really nice club. When the sunrise, when it's amazing. Amnesia. And also you played in space, in the terrace, the old terrace, or inside. Also space was big. Okay, well, Adam, thanks for today. Really appreciate, and we are really happy to stay here. If there is any short question for Adam, ¿alguna pregunta tenéis para Adam? Perfecto. And that's all for today.
Thank you very much.
We really appreciate. We're really happy, and especially we have a special gift for you because we want to appreciate, and also because you choose this island as a place to live.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much. It's been a privilege to